The 616th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their Pick 8. Sign up today with promo code MMA SGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer of up to $250 in bonus cash. That's UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm has the best AI picks and projections, and their college football product is about to drop. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Howdy ho, Degenerinos. Welcome to episode 616 of the MMA Gambling Podcast, the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Listen this out to the villain of the SGPN network, Terrell, the villain Furman, who hit a massive parlay. We love parlays, and he had a massive parlay thanks to tailing our picks for this past weekend's UFC. It was something like 4 or 5 leg parlay. So obviously, I don't condone that, but hey, he hit it. So congrats to him. Thanks for coming to the show. I am the king of Kung Fu for now, Jeff Chalks Fox, and we are here our last regional event of the week before we jump into the UFC pay-per-view coverage. We have UAE Warriors 51 today. I don't think we've covered UAE Warriors yet.
Little snippets.
Yeah, little snippets. Haven't done a full episode. Definitely not in the YouTube era. Speaking of YouTube, make sure you are subscribed to our channel. We're getting up there almost at 1,000 subscribers, and then we can make the evil overlords at YouTube pay us money then. So hit that subscribe button and make sure, be like Chad, our friend Chad, and sneak and make your spouse subscribe to us as well, even if they don't know about it. All right, I'm not breaking down this event by myself because I wouldn't know enough. I could tapology cap it perhaps, but let's bring in someone who actually watches tape and knows all these fighters on the card. I'm sure it's be the one and only Daniel Gumby-Reeland.
There's got to be at least 2 that you know.
There's a Magomedov. I know a lot of Magomedov.
You know Reinier. You know Reinier to Reader.
Oh yeah.
And then Vilson Ndregjoni.
Yes, you're right. I do know.
We've broken him down a bunch of times. Yeah. So like, I assume you know both of those.
Well,
and you probably don't know the rest of them, but that's fine. That's what I'm here for. I'm also here to tell you to subscribe to our YouTube. Look at that transition. You can even turn notifications off. We don't care. We just want your numbers and nothing else. And also, I know you already dedicated this episode to Rel, but I'm gonna throw an extra dedication to Alex Pineda, who is a name showed up in our Discord. He's been in there sporadically, but he was giving us mad props for some of our plays. So it seems like he had a good Saturday as well. So shout out to Alex as well.
Alex Poatan, is that who you're talking about?
Pineda.
Oh, Pineda.
It's like Daniel the Pit Pineda and Alex Pineda had a baby.
And they were in our Discord. Perfect.
Yeah.
Hey, as Gumby says, we don't care. We only care about your numbers. So I care about you as people. All right. Regardless of what Gumby says, I want more than numbers about you. Tell us a little bit about UAE Warriors for people who aren't familiar with it. Tell us about that in general, and tell us generally how this event coming up that we're going to be covering is.
It's like one of the few events that operates out of the Middle East. So you get a lot of like Northern African or, obviously you're going to see a bunch of Russian names on this one too. But they also probably do a better job of like reaching around and getting fighters from random places. Like, we're going to see Reinier here, which I think is, if I'm being honest, I think a ploy to try to get to the UFC. He's kind of late in his career to get that run, but he is 16-2 and has looked damn good and has fought in every weight class. So, he's obviously a Dutch guy. We've got, an American in there. You got an Australian in there. Like they a Brazilian, they're doing a really good job of like, not just trusting, that we'll find a bunch of talent in the area, which is kind of like Brave's shtick, where Brave is like kind of, we're in this area near Jordan and near stuff like that. And like most of our fighters will be too. But UAE Warriors, you've seen a bunch of people come to the UFC from UAE Warriors. So like it's a promotion that's, definitely worth watching, especially now that it's on Fight Pass and it's easy to get.
And Gumby says UAE Warriors is good at reach arounds. That's what you said, right?
I did catch myself saying they
do
good. They do good at reaching around to find prospects from other places.
Yeah, that's what I said. So perfect. Well, that will definitely be interesting. People will enjoy watching that. So yeah, this event is going down in Abu Dhabi, UAE. Perhaps you've heard of that. We're going to get to it after we remind you it's college football season, almost. But it is at SGPN. College football season is here. Sports Gambling Podcast, the mothership, is getting you ready for college football with their conference previews. Tune in wherever you get your podcasts or in the SGPN app or, of course, YouTube. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. All right, UAE Warriors 51, Abu Dhabi. As I said, this is a Saturday morning. I was thinking it was Sunday yesterday, but it's Saturday morning, which is good. You can get this in before the UFC. Actually, is the UFC running... They're running normal time, right? Even though it's in England?
They are running at normal time, much to the chagrin of some British fighters who are like, cool, I'll just fight at 2 a.m.
Tom Aspinall, not happy. He's not happy very often, I've found, that Aspinall guy.
To be fair, he's kind of gotten hosed. Like that dude should be fighting John Jones.
Yeah. Well, or he should at least he should be the champ. If Jones doesn't want to fight, that's fine.
Well, he does want to fight. He just wants to fight like people who are from the drug testing administration.
He shouldn't be the champ then. So anyhow, that's for tomorrow and the next day. We'll talk some UFC. So this is going down Saturday, 10 a.m. So you'll have plenty of time to get this into your system before the UFC kicks off. This will be a good pre-show before the UFC kicks off. UFC Fight Pass, of course. UAE Warriors is the name of the promotion. Abu Dhabi is the place it's going to be in Adnik Marina. 12 bouts. We're going to give you the 5 that Gumby found most interest in, and then he'll give you some bonus picks called the lightning round at the end of the program. No odds have dropped for this yet. This is a one that you pretty much see on most of the books, right? I think.
Yeah,
I have.
This gets this winds up on offshores and domestics alike usually.
Yeah. All right, we're going to kick things off with. We didn't talk about this in advance. Hopefully, you have it in the same order as Hapology. The aforementioned Reinier de Ridder. He is fighting at light heavyweight against Magomedmurad Khasaev. Magomedmurad Khasaev. 2 words. He is from Turkey. De Ridder, with a name like that, and is from the Netherlands. 3 5-minute rounds, 205. Let's tell you about Khasaev first. Trucker is the nickname. Fantastic. I've actually been called that myself. He's 6-1 with six knockouts. He's got 1 submission. So he owes his rounds, damn it. This is his debut in UAE Warriors. Lost the last fight via submission. 1-1 in 1 championship. So he has fought in the biggest promotion in mankind. Used to fight at light heavyweight. This one's used to fight at middleweight. I meant to say this one's up at light heavyweight. 7 years younger than De Ridder. De Ridder, the Dutch Knight. 16-2, 3 knockouts, 11 submissions. So yes, someone from that area of the world, not a kickboxer. He's been knocked out twice, so he pretty much owes his rounds as well. This is his debut. He's lost 2 straight fights, both via knockout or TKO. July 22nd was his last win. He went 7-2 in 1 championship and was the middleweight and light heavyweight champion in the biggest promotion in the world. He also has multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. His mantle is just sagging with championships, because he also has he's also a 2-time silver medalist in the BJJ and the European Championships, and he's got 6 inches height over Khasaev.
Yeah, I'm gonna say De Ridder minus 1,000.
Yeah,
I know we don't have we don't have odds yet for those of you at home wondering. So this is me giving you my projection. He should be a massive favorite here, and for both accolades and style, like Khasaev. Despite having the name he does, I personally don't think he's very much of a good wrestler, particularly in the defensive grappling. He throws kind of some nice kicks if you want to say something nice about him before you completely trash the guy. But also, isn't that a nightmare against the guy who is a jiu-jitsu specialist and is gonna take you down and dominate you there, right? So, De Ridder, for me, just being so much bigger, is going to be a lot for Khasaev to handle. He fought up at heavyweight, and granted, he wound up, running into Anatoly there, and it didn't work out too well for him in either of the 2 times he fought him. But, he beat some really high-level dudes in 1FC. like I said at the top of the show, I think this is his play to try to get himself noticed by the UFC. Maybe not the worst move in the world. And I think, here you're just going to see him take Khasaev down, do what he does best, probably get a quick finish. This number's, I'm just going to spoil it for you. It's not going to be playable. You can add another 2 cents to your parlay, but that's probably what it's going to be. It's going to be negative 1,000 or worse.
And I take it a submission prop is not going to get you much better.
No, it'd probably be like a negative 500 submission prop.
Yep. Not good. Not good at all. All right. All right. We're going to move on to someone who got me claims I know. And I said, oh, yeah, no, I do not know the name. Not Trent Girdham. I don't know his name. I do now. He's fighting in featherweight bout. He's from Australia. He's up against Vilson and Ndregjoni. I probably butchered it the first time I said it as well. Ndregjoni. He is from Albania. Very cool flag for Albania. 3 5-minute rounds, 145. Ndregjoni, the strong eagle, 9-3, 3 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been submitted twice. This is his debut. He's in UAE. He's won UAE Warriors. He's won 4 straight, 3 straight via knockout or TKO. He's fought down at bantamweight, up at lightweight, and he's a regional champ. Girdham, God's Samurai. I didn't know if you're God, you really don't need a samurai. But anyhow,
it's God's Samurai.
I know God's. Yes, you don't really need a samurai, right? If you're God, you can do whatever you want. If you're God, what do you need a samurai for?
Might need
Just
one.
snap your fingers, right? Anyhow, he's 14-5. This guy. We're the next person fighting is Soldier of Christ. So this is a very religious episode we're doing here. God Samurai is 14-5 with 1 no contest, 4 knockouts, 7 submissions. He's been submitted 4 times. 3-0 with 1 no contest in UAE. Warriors. You have to say it every time because UAE is actually a place. So 1-1 with 1 no contest over his last 3. 2-2 with 1 no contest over his last 5. What else has this man done? He won his last fight via submission. That's impressive. Good job. Used to fight down at bantamweight, multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Get sticky with it. What else can you do? Or what else has this man done? 1-1 in pro kickboxing, 3-0 in pro boxing, 0-1 in shoot boxing. 5 years younger than Ndregjoni, and an inch taller. Go ahead.
I think Ndregjoni is going to come in here as a favorite. I'll say negative 225 plus 200 on the return for Girdham. And I'm going to go dog here. I like Trent Girdham. And I came into this being a guy who's, I would say reasonably high in Ndregjoni. I'd seen him fight for CFFC a bunch of times, which we covered yesterday. Feel free to go back and watch that episode. But I watched Girdham, and he is kind of he's this fun mixture of a guy who you can tell has a tie and striking background, right? He's very light on his feet. He throws jumping side kicks to the kneecap. He throws, little push kicks to the chest. It's very clear he's done some Muay Thai fighting on the side. But then also when you get him in the clinch, he's got really nice body lock, BJJ 101 trips that he does that they seem to be working for him, at least in a lot of the fights he has. And then, as you mentioned, he's coming off of a win via submission. He clearly has good control and submission game on the top. And for me, I think Ndregjoni might be able to hold his own with that clinch wrestling stuff, but I think he is going to have a lot of trouble with the reach and the distance, because Girdham is a guy who, like I said, he doesn't let you get close to him until he's ready for it with all of those kicks. And the fact that he's going to have such a reach advantage and a height advantage here against Ndregjoni, I really think it's going to be tough for Vilson to get in close. And I think Girdham's going to kind of pick him apart on the outside. I also, maybe the more and more I watched him, I kind of lead Girdham in terms of the wrestling and ground game too. So yeah, if he comes in at a dog at all, I like Trent Girdham in this spot.
Any kind of dog?
Yeah, I think he's going to be close to $2, but I would say, yeah, even at plus 130, I'm in on him.
All right, fantastic. And this is perfect. 3 straight episodes you've led me perfectly in with underdog into our underdog fantasy ad read. So it's almost like it's planned, but I assure you, we plan nothing on this show. We have fantastic production values too, we've been told. Underdog Fantasy just launched their college football best ball product. First place wins $20,000, plus the higher, lower pick 8 allows you an opportunity to win 325 times your entry, 325. You can now use specials of boost on all flex entries. Gumby, do you have a pick 8 for us for Tuesday? It's
Yeah,
probably
I'll
going to
be
be a Braves pick. Here
Yeah, I
we go.
am. I'm going to be a huge homer again, but that's because Chris Sale is pitching on Tuesday
Good.
for the Braves. You got to play higher than on Chris Sale's strikeouts every single time that dude steps on the hill.
What is it usually set at?
I've seen 8.5. Sometimes it's 7.5. Sometimes it's like an 8 flat, but like he's flirting with 10 pretty much every time he pitches. So, put me down for double digits here.
All right, there you go. Don't miss your chance to play Pick 8 before it is gone. Try it out. Sign up with the promo code MMASGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMASGPN is the play. The code to use helps us out and helps you out as well.
And we're also brought to you by Game Time. Look, if you've ever had trouble finding tickets for an event, look, I'm one of those guys. I like to go out to Fenway Park once in a while. And guess what? It's really hard to find good tickets. And if you're not familiar with the stadium, you might even wind up in one of those old stadium seats that's being blocked by a column or something like that. Really hard to see. Well, that's why you got to check out the Game Time app, because Game Time has MLB tickets and other high-profile events in whatever sport you want, including MMA, and they've got such awesome features. My favorite one personally is the fact that you get seat view, so you don't have to worry about being stuck behind one of those columns and paying way too much for it. Plus, they've got all-in pricing. That means you can see how much it's going to cost you. No surprise fees at the checkout. And if you're showing up in Boston, you're like, hey, maybe I want to check out a game, or any city for that matter. You can save up to 60% off by getting last-minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Plus, you don't have to worry about whether or not the tickets are going to be more or less than you would find on other websites or apps, because Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if they're not the lowest price. So, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app right now, create an account, and use promo code SGPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code SGPN for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
Let's get some more winning picks, shall we? UAE Warriors is the place to go this week. All right, this is third from the top, 194 pounds. So this is a catchweight fight in between lightweight, light heavyweight, and middleweight. Maybe it's not catchweight over there. I'm not sure. Khabib Nabiev from Russia versus Bruno Souto from Brazil. 3 5-minute rounds, 194 pounds. Souto is the aforementioned soldier of Christ, Soldado de Cristo. 16-5, 4 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been knocked out once, submitted once. He's durable, to say the least. This is his debut in this promotion. He's won 1 of his last 3, 10 of his last 12. That sounds a lot better. And he did win his last fight. That was back in October 2022, although he's not lost since June of 2022. He used to fight at welterweight and up at light heavyweight. 1 and 2 in PFL. Regional champion, and 2012 was his pro MMA debut. Nabiev 8-0, 3 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's 1-0 in UAE Warriors. He's won 2 straight fights via TKO. He used to fight at welterweight and middleweight, 3 inches taller than Souto.
Do you know who Souto fought in PFL? So first of all, he only really fought twice in PFL. Once was the PFL Challengers, which is how he got the regular season. And do you know who he fought in his 2 regular season bouts at light heavyweight?
They were good people. I remember seeing it. Wilkinson?
Rob Wilkinson and Antonio Carlos Jr. And so like really, really brutal run for him. And because of that run, because he did fight some good people, first of all, he's going to come in as a dog, but I think it will keep the dog price down a little bit. You might get like -225, -250 for Nabiev. And I'm going to take Nabiev here. And the reason is kind of simple. Nabiev is a guy who I think has some striking, maybe not the best striking in the world, but like, again, you see the name Khabib Nabiev and you're like, oh, that guy's a wrestler. And he's a pretty good wrestler. I don't have any problems with his wrestling. I think he's mostly all right with the striking, and you're like, oh, that could be serviceable, but I could see somebody being really good on the feet and catching him. The problem is Souto got outstruck by Antonio Carlos Jr. And like, if I came on here and I was like, hey, he got outstruck by Rob Wilkinson, you'd be like, well, duh.
Yeah.
But like anytime that fight was on the feet with Antonio Carlos Jr., it made me think, did Antonio Carlos Jr. get better on the feet? And like, maybe he did a little bit, but that's a middleweight who's taking it to you at light heavyweight on the feet. And he's mostly a jiu-jitsu specialist. And like, that's not a good sign. it basically makes me feel like Nabiev could probably win a striking match if he wanted to. And then I think he's got the ace in the hole where he can shoot the takedown. So, I mean, like, I don't want to say there's no hope for Souto to win this, but like I was trying to find some, nugget of goodness in that Antonio Carlos Jr. fight or that Wilkinson fight. And there was like never any like takeaway where I was like, ooh, that might work, or ooh, this might work. Like, it was just me being like, ooh, that's a problem. Ooh, that's a problem. Ooh, that's a problem. Ooh, that's a problem. Okay, Nabiev at whatever price. So give me Khabib Nabiev here.
At any price. But he thinks around
price.
Hopefully minus 225, hopefully better than that, actually. So, but will you play him in real life at that price?
I mean, I think even up into the low 300s, I think he'd be a good one for a parlay. Like, because he's safe. Like when you're thinking of, you want to do these mega super parlays, because I know you do and you love them. But like if you're doing those big ones, like you like a couple, high 200s, low 300s that are like feel safe, and this one kind of feels safe to me.
I do a daily parlay column for sportsgamblingpodcast.com, and I am up money, so maybe I should be playing parlays.
Stop hating
I'm
the
up
parlay.
Like 20% over since I started doing it in
Stop
July.
hating. Stop hating. It's a foolproof plan.
Stop hating the parlay. Exactly. You don't have to win. You don't have to hit very many. You just have to hit one of your 12 leg parlay, and you're set. So, all right. Co-main event time. Walter Cogliandro. Walter Cogliandro. He's another guy from Italy. We got a lot of Italian fighters over the past couple of days here. Vincent Vargas, he's going up against. He is not from there. He's from Peru, the up-and-coming Peru, the hotbed for MMA now. This is as I said, a featherweight bout, co-main event. Cogliandro, excuse me. That's better. Cogliandro.
Yeah, it's Walter Cogliandro. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's his full name. He's named the Snatch. It's even easier to say. 14-4-1, 6 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been knocked out once, submitted once. 2-0 in UAE Warriors. He's won 3 straight. Before that, he lost 2 straight. 2 straight wins have come via finish. 0-1 in Bellator. Used to fight at lightweight, regional champion, and he's 5 years younger than Vargas. Vargas El Cemento, the Cement. 20. That's a good name. 21-6 with 1 no contest, 2 knockouts, 5 submissions. He's been knocked out once, submitted once. This is his debut in the promotion. He's won 3 straight and 9 of 10. Won his last fight via TKO. Used to fight at flyweight, bantamweight, lightweight. Was regional champion. 2014 pro MMA debut.
Yeah, so I think Cogliandro is going to be a favorite here. We'll say negative 175 or somewhere in that range. Vargas is a guy who's got a really apt nickname. His concrete nickname here is very fitting because, first of all, his feet move like they're stuck in concrete. Like it's not like he hits like concrete thing. It's like he's stuck in concrete. And then when he's on top of you, he's extremely heavy. But like it's not like he hits that hard. I actually worry a little bit if he gets his wrestling going too much here that Cogliandro won't get up. And like he'll grind out a win. But the big thing for me is that like Vargas's footwork and the way he plods on the feet, I just don't think it's sustainable at featherweight, especially for a guy who's like kind of taking some damage and is a little bit older, right? Like Vargas is like 30, I want to say 37 or something like that. Like kind of old for these lighter weight classes and sort of taking a beating in there. And Cogliandro, like the thing I like best about him, and this is, one of those things where when the guy's weakness is the other guy's strength, but like Cogliandro's got nice footwork and he throws really hard. And then you're going to have a guy who's not moving at all in front of him. He's basically hitting a heavy bag in there. He's hitting a 36 or 37-year-old heavy bag who's taking damage. And like that,
38.
38. I was low balling. Hey, 38
He's even older than you.
What kind of 38-year-old takes good abuse at featherweight? It's not. That's not an age for featherweights. And so like Cogliandro, I think is going to dance around him. I think he's going to light him up on the feet. He's got big hands, so I think the knockout could probably come in there. Again, I do worry ever so slightly that Vargas's wrestling could wind up being a problem because he is. It's mostly just like blast doubles and then get him up against the cage and lock your hands and get takedowns that way. He's not clever or crafty in it, but like it's good enough that you worry a little bit. So if it's in the, I predicted this be negative 175 for Cogliandro. And if it's there, yeah, I think there's value there. But if he starts ballooning as a favorite here because, Vargas is a 38-year-old featherweight, I might just stay away from it, being that like, a good wrestler could scare me off of a big number like that.
coward. We bet every fight, Gumby. Even all 21 Cage Warriors fights the other day. So we bet every fight. All right, before we move on, I got to talk about rhythm. This past weekend, the British Open went down. I picked American would win. Thank you very much. But Rhythm had even better info than I had, and you missed out if you weren't checking out their AI picks. They had AI picks and props from Rhythm, not just for that right winner of the British Open, but for top 5, top 10, top 20. You can use their AI caddy to get some real great data insights. They have it for other golf events. It wasn't just this past weekend's British Open. They have WNBA that's going on now as well. Basically, when sports are running, they got some info for you. And you can even customize your own betting models using Rhythm's tools. So claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpockets.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpockets.com/RITHMM. Circa Sports is back with Circa Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. And of course, Circa contests have no rake. Circa Millions, you pick 5 NFL teams against the spread each week and compete for $6 million, or you can survive the NFL gauntlet to claim the $10 million prize. Sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September 7th and use a proxy to play from anywhere. We even have a deal with footballcontestproxy.com to save you $50 with promo code SGP. Don't have a trip booked for Las Vegas yet? Before football, Ultimate Contest Weekend is a great time to go hang out with our bosses, Ryan and Sean, and enjoy some of the open bar events at the greatest sportsbook in the world, August 22nd through the 24th. All righty. Main event time for the UAE Warriors Lightweight Championship. Amru Magomedov, the champion, versus Ali Kabdulla, a Magomedov from Russia. Kabdulla is from Kazakhstan. 5-minute rounds if needed at 155 pounds. First, the challenger, Kabdulla, 9-2-1, 4 knockouts, 5 submissions. So he's finished everyone. He himself has never been finished. 0-1 in UAE Warriors. Yeah, he's getting the title shot. Go figure. 2-1 over his last 3 losses last fight. This is totally UFC style. Give a guy a title shot after a loss. He went 2-0, 1 championship. That explains it. He's undefeated in the biggest promotion in the world. So he used to fight down at featherweight, up at welterweight, and he's also a regional champion. Magomedov 7-0, 1 knockout, 4 submissions, 3-0, and is in UAE Warriors and the current champion. This is his first defense. He's won 4 straight fights via finish. Four straight via finish. Used to fight at featherweight, 4 years younger than Kabdulla, an inch taller.
So the fact that Kabdulla is coming off of a loss and has a worse looking record and all that kind of stuff. I mean, like, you're going to see Magomedov at -400. I sat there thinking, like, Kabdulla, I might be able to find a way to convince myself to, like, sneak one more dog on this card, but I can't get there on it. Magomedov has enough takedowns that I think Kabdulla is going to have trouble with it. The one way I did try to convince myself on Kabdulla is I do really like that he moves forward a lot. I think that might cause some troubles in Magomedov trying to get the takedown, because he doesn't really take a step backwards all that often, and I think that could be trouble for Magomedov. But at the end of the day, Magomedov, I mean, he's a little bit hittable, but not hittable enough that I think Kabdulla is going to take advantage of it. I also think Kabdulla, when he is on his back, and like, if you look at his 2 losses, not the draw, because the draw was to Jarno Aarons. That was more of a kickboxing match. But if you look at the 2 losses, like, he got taken down and held down for too long in those fights to wind up being able to win on the judges' scorecard. So, like, you know, the blueprint's kind of already there for Magomedov. Like, he just has to find a way to get it to the mat, and then Kabdulla doesn't really get up. I think Magomedov's good enough to do that. You know, I think this line's sort of like we were talking about with Reinier earlier. I don't think it's going to come in very playable. But at the same time, like, he's the guy who I think you got to ride with here.
All righty, there you go. Let's recap, and then we'll give you some lightning round picks. Magomedov, Cogliandro, I butchered it again. Nabiev, Girdham, Reinier. All right, lightning round, zap, bang, boom. Do you have any bonus picks for us, Gumby?
Yeah, so this one I had to do some digging for, because I'm not usually well versed in the UAE Warriors undercard, but I'm going to take Asaf Chaparov, who is fighting on this undercard here. I watched a little bit of his films. I really like his takedown game. It's, you know, I think I talked on yesterday's show about Robert Watley being a guy who doesn't settle for his first takedown attempt. He moves between them and sort of chains things together really well. And Chaparov, I kind of like the way that he does that as well. And he's only 22, so he's also one of those guys who you're going to see who keeps making big leaps and gains every single time out. So like he looked good last time out, but at like 22, you might see like 7 new wrinkles in his game this time. No idea what his line's going to come in at. He's kind of a highly touted prospect, so you might see him kind of up there in terms of price. The other one I'm going to take is Marina Nika. She's got a little bit worse of a record, and if you look, over her whole career, I want to say she's like 5-3 or something like that, but she had a really rough start to her career. And since then, I think there was a gym change in there somewhere, but it seems like she's sort of refocused herself. She's sort of found her footing. She seems to be progressing nicely on both the ground and the mat, or the ground and the feet. Like I think she's figuring kind of all of her game out. So Marina Nika is another name who I'm looking for, probably with some dog money behind her due to the fact that, her record's kind of a little shoddy. So I'm going to take Nina and chop her off.
All right. Fantastic. There you go. You're all set for UAE Warriors Saturday morning. It's your pregame for the UFC. Speaking of UFC, tomorrow and the next day is all about UFC on this here show of ours. Make sure you check that out, and make sure you check us out on YouTube and you subscribe to the MMA Gambling Podcast there. Check out our Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Get in there and chat with us. You can catch us on Twitter as well. Gumby runs our account at SGPN MMA. He's at Gumby Vreeland. I'm at Jeff Fox Writer. You can catch me, Jeff Fox Writer, on Instagram as well. Get into my Substack. If free subscription will get you an entry into my weekly UFC Pick'em contest that's running again this weekend for the pay-per-view. moneymma.substack.com. Gumby's got a Top Turtle MMA podcast. He interviews interesting people in MMA. Who are the interesting people this week?
Pair of Contender Series hopefuls, Michael Aswell from down in Houston, and Corinne Laframboise from up in the Great White North.
Yes, no surprise with that last name. So check that out. Of course, we're at sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store, and sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Back tomorrow with some UFC. It'll be The Snatch, Jeff Fox and El Cemento, Gumby Vreeland, and we'll talk to you then.